Hi, my name's Jen. Welcome to my channel, All My Plants. Today's video is plant chores. There's no shortage of them. I've got some repotting, some watering, probably some chopping. I might even clean some leaves. I don't know. We're going to start with repotting though. My Syngonium chiapense variegated has been waiting for an up pot and a moss pole for a while. So I'm going to do that first. My husband has football or something on in the other room, so hopefully we can't hear that too well. I don't want to get copyrighted. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to have to dump any of the soil out, so I'm probably just going to literally drop and fill right into this pot. Here's the plant in question though. It's very dry. I did water this recently. Like, the pole's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But there's been roots in the bottom of this pot for a while now. And I've just kind of been ignoring them, which I don't recommend. I don't recommend because they like die back, rot, regrow. And apparently they leak white sap if you break them, where I just snatched them off the bottom. See if I can set myself down here. Whoa, I almost dropped it. But yeah, it's drying really quick, and it's not been fun. I'm definitely going to lose roots. This should not have been put off so long. It was outside in the greenhouse, and that's how it got put off. I didn't want to bring it in and fool with it, and now it's way past time that it should have been done. I'm definitely going to make a mess. Pardon if you can hear my phone vibrating. Some of them can come out, maybe. Some of them might live. Oh. Wow. We lost quite a few. Quite a few. Oh no. Poor things. But we might have managed to save a few if I didn't damage them so thoroughly. Yeah. Alright. So I'm going to take the soil that fell out of there and put it right back in this pot. So like I said, there wasn't anything wrong with it. Where can I set this? It's just, it needed an up pot. And I'll see if I can get it in there pretty stable so that I can top up and extend this moss pole. Alright, please sit. I don't know if you can see it flopping around behind me. Here's that. My husband. Hello. Okay, sorry, that was my husband complaining about everything going wrong, because some days are like that and things just go wrong. He's having that day today, unfortunately. I feel for him. The only thing I saw in this soil was springtails. So they're going back in. They're going back in. But other than that, I didn't see anything wrong with it, so. Or with the roots, other than that more were out of the pot than in the pot. So I'm not going to get this back down to the bottom, but the pole, I mean. But I'm going to set it as low as I can. And top it up here. Try to keep it straight or lean slightly backwards. And hope that it won't keep falling on its face. It hasn't been, as it was in the other pot. Can you see anything at all? I'm not sure. I don't have my monitor set up over here with me today. Probably just seeing mostly leaves, but I'm filling the pot. That is one thing I am definitely doing. Just trying to fill this pot back in. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily unstable in the pot it was in, but where I'm making the pole longer, or about to make the pole longer, I want it to sit either fairly straight or slightly leaned back in an effort to keep it from becoming unstable. really looks like it needs water again. It's alright, because I'm going to have to water the pot, so I might as well water the poles through anyway. Of course, I left the pole on the other side, over there in the floor. I didn't think that through when I sat down. I never seem to think things through before I sit down. It's okay. I'm just going to get a little bit of exercise today, that's all. I had plenty of exercise yesterday. Yesterday, if you saw my last video, yesterday is the day that I spent kind of reorganizing things upstairs, because I do still have some plants up there. Some more are going to go up there, like my crawlers, my gloriosum, and my pastazanum silver are going to go up there. I moved the Bottle Dragon, went up there, and the Jose Bono, they were right here. They've gone up there. Not doing anything to the Jose Bono. I just want to try to get it somewhere where it's going to get decent enough light, preferably front facing, because the petioles on that plant can be pretty, they can get leggy. They can get very reachy. So I just want to try to keep them under control a little bit. And light, I think, is the best way to do that, like front-facing light. So, all right. I don't see any huge air gaps, do I? No, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna water it in, it'll settle a bit more anyway. Let me put a little bit more moss in here. Oh, it's leaning forward. I didn't even notice I did it. Okay, now it's leaning back a little bit. A little. All right. Now I'm gonna top it up with a little bit of moss. I think it's right here next to me. Some that's hydrated. Yes. Can you see the top of the moss pole? The leaf is past it, but the node where the roots come from isn't. So I'm trying to stay on top of this. I'm gonna tip you up at the weirdest angle ever. I'm just gonna stuff some moss down in here and leave room to put the other pole on so it can overlap by a few inches anyway. Oop, oop, oop. Dropping moss gobs in the floor. Okay. I've left a couple inches. I've already got a moss pole made up from something else, I'm fairly certain. Oh, there's a big gap there. We'll fill the bottom part of this. Will we? Yeah. No? Yeah. I'm going to try to slot it inside of the other, so that in theory, while I'm watering, it will flow down inside rather than flow over the outside as gravity pulls it down. I think that's how that's going to work. If I can not dump all the moss out, that'll be super. It's really hard to jam one moss pole inside of another. On this brand anyway. Alright. And it leaves a little pocket at the top. I don't know how to explain that. Let me try to show you. A space where the poles come together and there's like a plastic piece back there. So there's really no moss for it to grab. I'm going to try to shove some moss down through there. It's actually not too bad. Maybe I can just push the pole down further. Yeah, it's not bad. I just want the plant to have somewhere to grab. That, and it's kind of trying to go off the edge of the pole. Maybe I should put a little bit of Velcro on that. Let me set that on the floor so it doesn't fall while I hunt for plant Velcro. I think I put a snaggle over here earlier. I did. So it's just tried to wander off the edge of the pole a little bit. I'm just going to try to gently Gently move it back over. Let's see. I might not have grabbed a piece of Velcro that's long enough. I suspect we're getting ready to find out. If I can fish it back there. Yeah. Yeah, we got it. Okay. Now I'm going to take it, plop it in the sink for some water. I'm going to water the whole thing through, even though it's not bone dry, because the pot is now, so. And while I'm thinking about it, I've got this prop in here. It's got philodendron, I believe, blizzard, and Florida Beauty in here. And they've been in here for such a long time that the moss is reanimated in some places. Sorry, the lighting is not great, but that's what's in there. Along with a lot of springtails. Like so many springtails. They're not hurting anything. I've got some little pots here, and they're not at all hardened off. What I mean by that is a lot of times when you take something out of 100% humidity and put it in, say, 30% humidity, maybe 40 in this room, it'll just crisp right up and die. And like I said, I don't see any roots of their own on these guys, but I really want to get them out of here. I have a cloche, like a dome thing here, and I can put one in there and maybe slowly, you know, a few times a day, expose it to some real air, real conditions. I'm not sure which one I want to try to pot up though. I guess I'm going to pull them out and look at it. I'd like to get the blizzard potted up, but it has no roots. Oh no, I'm telling a tale. It does have one, like, down here into the moss. A really long one down there into the moss. Is it on the actual plant? It is at the base of the plant, but it's not really sustaining the plant. I can see another spot where one will potentially come from. That little boop right there. This is root for this plant. It's mixed into sphagnum moss. I'm going to put that back in there because it really has nothing of its own. I just don't trust that that's going to be okay if I take it out. I think what I will do though is take some moss and put it closer around the base. See if we can't get it to root, like the base of the plantlet, not necessarily on that. I don't need any more roots on that chunk, and that's more what that root was coming from, was like the chunk and not this little plant that's trying to start in here. You know, maybe if I get moisture closer to that, it'll try to root. All right, let's look at this. Okay, it has a little bit of root. Once again, it is coming from the chunk and not the plant. One of the Florida Beauties. At least I guess that's what that is. I assume it must be. But this is a smaller one. Let's see what the bigger one looks like. It's got, oh, it does have some resistance. I don't know where it's going, but it's going. Okay. This is the one we're going to pot up because it's bigger. Alright, I'm going to put that back down in there. And just, it's been in here so long, it's a shame to like leave them and hope that they root more, but at the same time, I'm not the most comfortable with pulling them out so that they have to both root and adjust to being in a whole new world of conditions. I'm just pulling some of this moss off. I know you maybe can't see me. Anything that's loose and comes easily off. This actually does have tiny, tiny little roots starting of its own at the base of the plant. I'll bring you closer so you can see that, or I'll bring this closer to you. There's one little one there. There's another little green one kind of coming out and going across the top there. And another little green one. Oop, right in there. Pardon my gross fingernails. and then its little root. Okay, so I think this is going to be our new little Florida Beauty plant. At some point I intend to chop up my bigger Florida Beauty, which doesn't make a ton of sense because I just extended the moss pole on it. It was just now to the point where it needed it, but you know, so all right, I really don't want that to dry out, so I'm going to try to be quick. I'm fiddling with the soil bin down here. There we go. I'm gonna just barely bury that whole chunk and we'll see how it goes. Alright. Got a long piece of stick out of there. I'm gonna get it a saucer and some water and immediately cover it and hope it's okay. I feel like I should also spray it with some antifungal, but I don't have any down here. I have some upstairs. Oh boy, that's gonna be a heck of a fit. That's tight. Like the leaves are all touching the sides, but they were touching the lid of that box, so that prop box, Tupperware, I don't know. So, I don't know, I guess hopefully it'll be okay until I can get it out of there. If I'm gentle, I suppose it'll be okay. Let me get him some water. I don't want him to get too dry. This is just plain water because I don't think it's going to need any fertilizer or anything yet. I don't think so. I'm not going to waterlog this too much because it's going to stay pretty damp in this cloche anyway. Gently, gently. All right. I'm going to go put it in good light, probably over there where it's getting some natural light on the shelf that's by the windows. That's the plan. Grow, baby, grow. Okay, I've got that in the sink being watered. I'm going to try to tidy up in here just a smidge, and then I'm going to do some watering. I've got dirt everywhere. I'm gonna try to water in place as much as I can, because a lot of things are dry. I don't want to take the time to move every single thing in here, basically. So we'll see how that goes. For the ones that don't have saucers, I'm just going to put them in here. They're probably going to end up living in here, so it's going to be fine. If not, at least they won't leak all over the floor. Those are some propagations, player props. I don't think this needs water. No, no watering necessary. I think these plants up here are fine too, on top of this cabinet. They look okay. The Delta Force that I just repotted needs a little top up on soil. It's been a few days. I did wash a bunch of my cover pots and nursery pots. I have no idea what to do with them all. There's still so many more. Nobody needs this many pots. But I feel bad for getting rid of them. And I'm always thinking that the moment I do, that's when I'll need a pot of that particular size. But like, this is insane. This is not even an eighth of the pots I have. I'm looking at more that are over there just waiting to be washed. I mean, I guess I'll keep the ones I purchased, or the odd sizes. But do I need a bunch of these? I don't feel like I do. I think part of the reason why I get caught into keeping random pots like this, nursery pots, is because they fit these cover pots for self-watering. But, I mean, other ones will too, right? 6 inches is a pretty common size that I need all the time. But I've bought a bunch that are 6 inch. There's 7 here that are 6 inch. Plus more in this pile. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I just need to let some go. Those are ones that I purchased, except for this one, which is like a 4, maybe 5 inch. I guess I'll keep that one. I don't need that one. I don't need that. So while I'm doing this, it took me a few hours to water all my plants, which isn't bad, and that's watering them in place. It's significantly faster watering them in place. When I take them all to flush them through or shower them off, that'll take me all day. That takes time for sure. Oops. I'm trying to stack them into each other so that they'll be at least kind of neat. And maybe take up less space if I stack them according to size. There's so many though. This is insane. Alright, let me go put this stack away somewhere. I'm keeping all of the self-watering pots. Like, I have a bunch of pots for like Pawn and Lekka. I don't use that a lot anymore, but I do for my allocation. Occasionally, like, I'll start cuttings in semi-hydro just because it's convenient. I've got wicks everywhere too. Somewhere there's even more. This is the liner to some pot, and I can't remember which pot it came out of. There was a plant in it, and I just took it out because it was gross looking and I wanted to wash it. I also use these for plants in semi-hydro. These like glass candle holders or whatever. I think I did buy them in bulk as like to make candles in, because that's yet another hobby that I have. Yeah. I think I've got this about as well organized as my brain can handle right now. I don't know where the insert for this pot is. I'm sure I must have washed it, but where I've put it after that, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to move these aside and I'll be right back. Look at that, there was a desk under all that stuff. Amazing. So I've had this, I think I mentioned it last video. Crystallinum, right, yeah. That I'm not sure what's going on with it. I'm a pretty patient person, but for whatever reason, it's just not doing pretty much anything. And some of the leaves are kind of looking worse, and I think it might be underwatered. I don't know, it's in this enormous pot. I can see roots in the bottom. Even though I'm trying to keep the moss, I'm doing a fairly good job for once too. The moss damp on top, it's not rooting out from the chunk up here. Yeah, I'm gonna dig in here, which I feel bad for that because it's only, I think I've only had this for about 6 months. It's a rehab. I bought it as a rehab, and I haven't made it any better. I haven't made it any worse, but I haven't made it any better. Sorry, I'm seeing something on the surface here. And I'm wondering if it's just dust, debris, spider mites. I'm not sure. I don't see any movement. You know what? I might need my magnifiers. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get those. Right, magnifiers procured, which are very dusty. I just need to be able to see what I'm looking at here. It just looks like dust and dirt. Okay, back to this leaf. This is definitely dust, dirt, cat hair. I'm gonna shower it off anyway when I'm done here, but meanwhile, I wanted to make sure nothing terrible was happening. Pardon the Halloween decoration. In between doing planty stuff, I've been moving Halloween stuff finally because we're well into November. And where do I set things? Well into November, and I've still had random decor around my house, and I guess it's time to think about Christmas already so soon. Like Christmas trees and whatever. Oh, yeah, I've been shuffling. I was looking for something a bit wider and shorter to work on than this. I have a tray somewhere. Let me go see what I can find. Here we are. Always looking for something. Never prepared. Okay, I've got this thing here. Some sort of tray, I guess. It'll do. I'm just going to put the moss in here, because I put gobs and gobs of it on here, but I just don't see where it did any good. Like, I'm not sure how great the light is in here currently, but there's just nothing happening. I'm fairly used to anthuriums. I can put it on there for, you know, a week, maybe even 2, and see some growth pretty immediately in the root area. And there was 2 inches of moss up here, and nothing happened. So, anywhere. Except some springtails, it looks like, may have taken up residence on the top layer of soil. The chunk still feels good. It feels firmly rooted. I'm gonna dig it out of here, though. Have I been overwatering? No, there's no excess water pouring out. Smells earthy. There's no roots that I'm seeing in what I've dumped out so far. It's like it just refused to root anywhere further up that chunk. Oh. I see some white root. It's moist all the way through. Like, the roots look fine. The roots look fine. I did cut some of the bottom of the base of this off down here because it was just a very long chunk. I don't see... Oh, there's a little bit of root rot right there. One little piece. No, there's a few pieces here and there. Alright, I guess I'm going to clean this up. Whatever little bit of root rot I do see. I'm going to do some pretty massive root trimming, I think, because my goal is going to be to get it to live in here. I'm uncomfortable with a rehab plant and not being able to see what's going on in the pot, like with the roots. Alright, let me get rid of some of this soil. That was a lot of dirt. It doesn't smell weird or anything, but I'm thinking that the rot that's on there, it doesn't look like wet rot. It looks more like it's been too dry. I'm gonna make such a mess. Why do I put tablecloths on things and then cover them in dirt? Alright, I'm going to bring you closer. Find me a little pair of scissors and just settle in to work at this. Okay, so hopefully we're in here well enough that you can kind of see what is going on. I'm just looking for, yeah, anything that's kind of shriveled, gross looking. And really, I don't see a whole lot. There's some mixed in here and there. I don't know if I bothered to cut any of it off when I first brought this home. I don't always like swoop in and feel the need to remove every bit of rot from a plant. It depends. If it's the kind of dry rot that's spreading, or I mean wet rot, I don't really see dry rot spread like that. And I think that's what this is dry rot. But I'm in here and I'm intending to, like I said, trim this up a bit anyway so that it can fit into a smaller pot, because this is the size clear pot that I have. I don't have any other option for clear pots right now. With drainage, I want to keep this in drainage. I guess I could go up if I didn't mind. Some of these are just pulling right off. If I didn't mind having no drainage, but I would like to have drainage for this one. A lot of this is just pulling off easy. Oh, hi, PP. You're not helpful. This had a ball of sphagnum moss in the center of it also, which I picked out the last 2 repots. I've picked that out. It looks like I actually got it all finally. So that's great. Some old root that's all dried up there. Yeah, it's some of these darker ones. I don't know if you can see the difference, but some of the darker ones are just shrunken and dried out. I'm gonna try not to play with this in the wind too long, because I would rather they didn't all dry out. Still more moss in there. Thought I had it all off. Yeah, I didn't even need the scissors, because those roots that were dry that I was talking about are really coming off quite easily with just a little bit of tugging. But I guess I'll get in there with the scissors when I go to, before I pot it up. There's some darker ones here. It's just dirt stuck to them. I'm still not like identifying a cause of why this plant is slow and sluggish to do much of anything. I know that some not all plants are like really fast growers or speed demons when it comes to putting on new growth, but I don't remember crystallinum being one of the slower ones. So it just makes me curious as to what's going on in here. This probably looks brutal, ripping these roots off, but they're not doing the plant any good. So how much of this root am I going to have to cut off to get it in here? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Alright. I'm just gonna start trimming. Some of those roots that are dark, I'm cutting them even though some of them it just appears that there's soil stuck on them. If they're dark, I'm cutting them anyway at this point. Not all of them, but some of them. Because it won't hurt to have a little less root, I think. I hate to cut roots, I really do, and I generally don't. I'll usually cut the chunk instead, but the remainder of this chunk is where the roots are, and there's none, you know, near this top bit. So I don't think cutting the chunk to make it fit in a pot better is much of an option anymore. See, broken root there. We'll get rid of that. Cutting a lot of these secondary roots off that don't look great. It's not that bad in here. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know. Plants just do what plants do, and sometimes there's not an easy solution, I guess. Even though I'd like there to be. Pulling off old dried up sheaths and other bits that don't need to be here. Basically anything that's not firmly attached to this chunk up here or green, I'm pulling it off. I can see where one of these growth points was, and like it just quit. There's another one, or there was another one over here off to the side. It looks like that one might have quit too. I don't know, I'm not going to damage it. We'll see what happens. Or I'm going to try not to damage it, I'll put it that way. Okay, I know that wasn't the best view, but I was just trying to clean up that around the growth points and a little bit around the chunk. Get some of the papery bits off. Still nice and firm at the bottom where I've cut it a couple times trying to get the roots to activate somewhere higher up. Just didn't have much luck with that. Still pulling more stuff off. Alright. I don't know, we trimmed a little bit here. Is it going to fit in this pot? This is a small pot for that amount of roots. But I guess I'll be able to at least see if they're growing. Can you see? I think I am going to try to jam it in here. Should I cut more? There's still a lot of dark parts on here. I will cut a little bit more, I guess. There's still other roots that I've already cut, like still tangled in here. That's thin. Yeah, that root's bad anyway. What about you? And you feel fine? Here's one that's toast. Alright. I should probably quit cutting on it at some point or there won't be anything left, will there? Okay. Dang, I'm still seeing more in here though. Like dry rot or thin roots that just don't look like they're helping the plant. I don't think they're hurting the plant, but they're certainly not helping. Okie dokie. Let's see where that takes us. So there's some root there. Some of it was healthy root, and I feel bad about that. But at the same time, I need to get this going. I need to get this going. Or give up on it. And you know, I'm a very hard-headed person when it comes to things that I should maybe just give up on. I don't think this plant is doing poorly enough that it's time to give up on it, but I don't think it's doing very well either, so. Alright, get rid of that. Alright, so it is going to be a snug fit for this plant, but that might not necessarily be bad. Should prevent me from overwatering it. Not that I think I would, but you never know. I've got roots in here. Do I want to put leca on the bottom of this? I don't think there's enough room in this pot to put a leca layer. No, there really isn't. Maybe I should twist this way. I was trying to get as many roots down in there as possible so I can seat the plant as low as possible. And this is the same soil mix that I use for absolutely everything. I've got it set in the floor because I can't really fit it up on the table with this poor plant. There's a root. Alright. I'm making a mess. Just stay. That chunk that's sticking up is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I am going to heap this moss, I guess, back around it again. I don't know. I don't know. Ideally, I'd bury the whole chunk, but it hadn't rooted where I did bury it. So, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't even know what to think at this point with this particular anthurium. And it's a crystallinum. Like, I don't remember crystallinum ever giving me a problem. But to be fair, I have had one before, and I'm pretty sure it had something bacterial or fungal. It was just like melting. And I didn't have it in me to keep that chunk around and try to keep it alive until it came back at the time. I just didn't want to go there. I believe that is what took that first one out. And I think the reason it had those issues was just not great airflow. That, and I didn't really mist plants, but I frequently showered them all the time. And there's no airflow in my bathroom. I know a lot of bathrooms have like the vents. My husband would call it a fart fan. You know, the fan you can turn on to like exhaust some of the damp air out, humidity out, etc. Neither of my bathrooms have that. This is an old house. And none of that stuff was thought of when they were building this house. So I do keep a fan in there now. I don't shower the full plant off too terribly often anymore. Not nearly as often as I used to anyway. Especially not like velvety leaves, namely anthurium. Because of that, because of water sitting on the leaves and just things happening that are undesirable. That's just been my experience. I haven't had any problem with that in the last probably 5 or 6 years, and I think it's because I don't do that anymore. So, or very rarely. I'm not saying I never shower them off. I just don't. It's not something I do even weekly anymore. It's one of those things occasionally I'll water over the top of the plant, but as far as like letting water sit on the foliage, I try not to do that. If a plant needs cleaning, I'll generally go get me some nice soapy alcohol water and clean it. Rather than just try to shower it and hope that's, you know, going to do the trick. Make sure I don't have any gigantic air pockets. I don't see any. I am going to shower this plant off currently because I will also dry it off and water it through. I'm not going to put any fertilizer in it just now. I'll do that next watering. We'll see how it goes. I'll be back. I'm going to go give her a rinse. So I confess, I'm still not sure what this plant's issue is. I didn't find anything in the pot, basically, that was terribly unexpected. There was some dry rot. I think there was the last couple times I've potted it up. I didn't see any wet rot. I don't know. I'm at a loss. You know what? Let me make this easier on myself. Get it out of this dirty tray. And put it on a turntable. I might need a riser for this as well, so it's not sitting with its leaf smashed down onto whatever surface it's sitting on. This is literally just a couple drops of dish soap, probably a few tablespoons of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and warm water. Warm water. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to say underwatering, which is what I always say when something's wrong with my anthurium. I know you've probably heard me say, oh, that's probably underwatering. And I'd say underwatering because there was dry rot. Even though I had just watered this plant, I don't think it was watered all the way through very well. Other than that, I really can't see what in the pot would be wrong with this plant. As far as the leaves go, they were doing okay. They came out and they were pristine, except for the one spot that had rubbed the pot, but you know, that happens. Anthuriums do like bruise and scar pretty easily. I don't know. I don't know. So hopefully this is the last time I'll be repotting it for a while. I will probably let it stay in here until it's pretty root bound, if it does actually become root bound, if it does finally start to do a grow. It did all right in the greenhouse. It really did. I'm just cutting this nasty crispiness off of this leaf because now it is wet as well. This grossness here. I don't know. It'll have to live here for a while, I think, in this pot. I'm not sure what's going on there. Not sure. It didn't have, I expected more root growth. I could see some new white healthy roots, some growth, but for the period of time that it had been in there, I would have expected more. And it was in the greenhouse, and things usually root like crazy in there, like the outdoor greenhouse, because it's, you know, it's warm, it's bright, it's humid. I didn't have that experience with this plant out there. I mean, it did fine out there. For crystallinum, it did great in my greenhouse, because my greenhouse is so warm, things will often struggle because of the high temperatures in there. That and, I mean, don't get me wrong, it did cool off at night, but not significantly. This was at the bottom of the greenhouse where it's cooler day or night. It was down on the bottom shelf. So while it was getting bright light, it wasn't getting necessarily blasted either. It may have got a smidge of direct sun here and there, briefly, as it was filtering through other things. I don't know. I'm still at a complete loss. I have no clue. No clue. I am going to put that moss back on top. I don't know if I should put it up here or take it back down into like the plant room down there. I don't know. I think I will, because it's generally a little bit more humid down there. I do have a humidifier in that room now, and the temperature is more stable down there. I don't have any heat in the upstairs of my house. Of course, heat rises, so it is generally always warm up here. And cooler at night, of course, but I don't know. I keep saying that, but I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm just packing that moss back in there. That's another thing with moss topping plants. I can't see the soil underneath. And I couldn't in the pot it was in. So hopefully with this clear pot I'll be able to like monitor the soil a little bit more, despite the fact that I can't see the top for the moss. I don't know. That's the word of the day. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I'm just gonna set this aside, let it dry, and then I'll move it downstairs. It's got washcloth lint on it now. It's a new washcloth. I hadn't washed it yet, so there's pieces of it shedding. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna set it aside over here to dry. Right. If nothing else, I'm making a fantastic mess. I dumped so much dirt in the floor on potting that anthurium. Like a lot. I swept it up, but I'm sure there's always more. And I don't have my little vacuum thing, duster, up here. I don't know why I put this on. Now I need to take it back off and wash it. I keep covering this table, or this desk rather, because it's glass, and it bothers me, the glare off of it and being able to see through it. I don't know. The cats try to play with me through it. It's just easier to keep it covered. Well, in one way it's easier to keep it covered, and another way I'm just making a mess out of whatever I've covered it with all the time. I just changed this battery right before I got that plant out of the shower, and it's dead already. I think I need to purchase new batteries. They're not holding a charge or not charging properly, or both. It is like 3:15 in the afternoon, and it's dark outside. Maybe it's just that time of year, or maybe it's gonna rain. I don't know. I didn't look at the weather. Didn't look at the weather. This is the Hoya Bertonier bilobata DS70. Not sure. Intervariegated, and it's covered in sulfur, and I just want to clean it up finally. Since I have some soapy alcohol water here, it still has sulfur on it, and it's not a great look for this plant. I don't think it's a great look for any plant, but the sulfur did serve its purpose, I believe. I don't know that this one actually had any flat mites, but that is what I had sprayed the sulfur all over it for. And I'm probably not going to get every single leaf with my little wipey wipe here, but I'm going to try to get some of them. and hopefully not break any or disturb any new growth too terribly much. I'm just sick of looking at the sulfur on these. And I think I've said before that I do water over top of my Hoyas. Like the foliage and all, it all gets wet on Hoyas. But that doesn't really get it off. It does kind of rinse some of it away, but rubbing seems to be the only way that I can really get it all off. So here I am. And I know I've said this before, this is my favorite plant chore. Just washing my plants, just wiping those leaves. I love it. I adore it. I don't know. It's relaxing to me. And the plants just look better afterwards. It gives me a chance to really look at them and check them out. And because I am using alcohol, maybe I'll get lucky and accidentally kill any pests that are on here in the process. So, and I use the alcohol, soap, and water method to clean pretty much all of my plants. Will get the same treatment as far as when I'm cleaning leaves. I use the same thing. I used to use, like way back, leaf shine on not velvety plants, but on like, you know, philodendron or my pothos or anything like that. But honestly, they were unnaturally shiny. It was a little weird looking, I think, humble opinion. I wouldn't use that on Hoyas because I believe they have a stomata that will open, and I think you'd just be clogging it up. I think I'd be clogging it up, so I've never tried that on Hoya. Don't recommend it, but yeah. I am seeing new growth everywhere on this thing. I just repotted this as well, so I think it's enjoying its new pot. I had cut from this plant several times, but I'd never repotted it. It was still in the same nursery pot for quite a long time. And I think it's appreciating the upgrade. My dog is making weird noises and it's offending my bird. He's been like coughing or something lately. I don't know what that noise is. Horkling. We'd call it horkling around here. I don't know. Alright, we're going to speed through this because it'll take quite a while to just clean just the front sides of these leaves, but I am trying to hit the back too if I can get to it without disturbing new growth or potentially breaking the leaf. But yeah, I'm going to speed this up a bit. Okay, so I won't swear that this is perfection, but it does look better. It does look better to me. Just a little less dull looking, and hopefully that'll be okay. I will probably have to wash it again in the future because even with the rubbing, I can see it as it's dried. Some of it, the sulfur, has just been smeared around. It didn't really come off. But it's okay. It's better. I'm going to go see if I can grab another Hoya while I've got some sulfur water there that needs to be cleaned. I'm sure there's dozens. Hoya icensis. It's another one that I've just been looking at it so long with sulfur on it. So we're going to clean it off. We're going to clean it off. This is such a pretty Hoya, or it is when it's happy. This one here has been growing, but I won't say that it's happy. Honestly, I probably need to chop it and restart it. I think this is one of the ones that had not only flat mites, but root mealies as well. When it was in semi-hydro, it had the root mealies, and I've taken it out and put it in some systemic in soil years ago at this point. But I haven't messed with the roots or repotted it or done anything since then. I haven't even checked for a recurrence of root mealies, which does happen, so so I should probably look at that. But yeah, I'll probably just go ahead and start it over rather than even fooling with the roots anymore. You know, do some cuttings and reroot it, probably in the near future. But for now, I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean it up just a bit. It's got dust on it on top of the absurd amount of not systemic sulfur. Any systemic that was in there, I'm sure, is long gone now. It feels a little thin too, so pretty sure the roots aren't great. They're not great on a lot of my Hoyas that I started over or that I transferred from semi-hydro to soil. Mostly because, like I said, most of them I didn't start over. I just snatched them out of whatever they were in and immediately put them into soil rather than letting them regrow roots. Even though the roots were damaged from the root mealies. So it's been an ongoing thing. Sorry if you can hear that noise. That's my dog. Let me go check on him. I don't know what that's all about. Probably need to take him to the vet. Take him to the vet if he continues to do that anyway, because he doesn't normally make that noise. Are you okay, buddy? Have you got a hairball? What's going on? What's going on? What was I saying? I have no idea. That I need to restart these Hoyas? Some of them seem alright, just fine. They seem just dandy. And others, like the newer growth on this is firm and as it should be, but some of the older growth is like, maybe it's just on its way out because it's had to really sustain this plant for quite a while it's been through some stuff. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the way that I'm going to move forward with this plant is chopping it. But until then, at least it won't be as dusty looking. Which I can approve of. I can appreciate it. Yeah, it's just real thin and wrinkly, the older leaves, whereas the new ones are just nice and firm. I don't know. And they're faded in color, the older ones compared to the newer ones. I don't know. I'm not mad about it, but I am going to start it over because this plant seems like it might be mad about it. I'm sitting here thinking about the clarinervium downstairs. It has been trying to produce an infructescence, berries, for a few months now. And you know, clarinervium, if you don't know, maybe you don't, I don't know, they take forever. A year. So I keep saying I probably got 8 or 9 months to go on this thing, and probably every bit of it. I'm not sure how long it's been going, but it's been going since late summer. And I haven't wanted to mess with it or repot it, but I really want to repot it. I'm not necessarily waiting on those berries for any particular reason. I'm pretty sure it's pollinated itself. I didn't do it. Self-pollinated, but with the help of a stiff breeze, a cat, a lizard, a frog, insects. I'm not sure. It was outside the greenhouse, so however it got pollinated, it wasn't me. And I haven't wanted to mess with it because I'm just trying to let it do whatever it wants to do. But it looks rugged because of being in the greenhouse. Bugs ate half the leaves. I did cut some of them off, but I left some because I figured it needed whatever energy it could get while it was creating berries. I think I'm going to repot it into one of the clear 7-inch pots, or clear-ish 7-inch pots. I am. I'm going to go get it. This monstrosity is the clarinervium in question. This is not the pollinated flower. It's actually over here. And it looks like it's just the bottom bit of it that's pollinated, which I'll bring that closer so you can see what I'm talking about. After I deal with it, it's kind of fallen over and crawling and then gone up again. I really should have had some foresight and probably put some sphagnum moss around those roots, but I didn't. And I believe that the base of this plant goes pretty well to the bottom of this pot, like the main stem, because I have repotted it before, and I think it was mainly to set it deeper at that time. But anyway, it's just not, I don't want it crawling around. It's not really a crawler, I don't think. Mine is, but I don't think by nature that's how it would like to grow. This is not much of an up pot, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to cut some of the base of this plant off. We'll see what it looks like once we get in here. I'm going to clean up my mess so that I can make a mess, and I'll be right back. Okay, I guess let's see if we can get it out of the pot. Oops. Oh, I'm breaking roots already. There we go. Oh. Okay. It was pretty well rooted in there, I guess. Wow, every bit that I would want to cut is basically all the roots this plant has. That's not ideal. That is not ideal. I'm tempted to do it anyway and see if it'll just reroot. I don't know, we'll see if we can get a few roots to go with this. I'm gonna cut the chunk though, I'm certain. And we're gonna lose the majority of the roots, which is not ideal if you were actually waiting for seeds. I'm not, like I said, but I was just gonna let it do what it was doing. Also, I just watered this and it's fairly dry. And I can see some dry rot on these roots. Or maybe where they just died. I wouldn't necessarily call that rot, but like desiccation. I am trying to get most of this soil out of here so that I can kind of see what's going on better where I do intend to cut this. It's a lot going on here. Another dry one. It's really not bad. This plant has been such a trooper. I think I said before that I always seem to end up with multiples of Anthurium clarinervium. And part of that is this plant was producing offsets at one point pretty consistently, and I don't know, I just seem to end up with multiples. I can't see the base of the stem. It doesn't look like I've cut it before. I thought I had, but maybe not. Trying to dig through here so I can see better. There's still some soil there. Okay, I see the base. And we're gonna lose a lot of root. Y'all close your eyes. Close your eyes, don't look. Boy, it's a tangled mess. All right, I need to fish them out because it needs these roots. It needs them terribly, desperately. But they're just so tangled. Okay, so that is what the top is left with, which is hopefully plenty, and hopefully it'll root more from the chunk there. It's a lot going on. And then this is the base of the plant, which, do I repot this? That's a lot of root for a very small cutting. Maybe it'll pop faster. I guess we'll do that. Let me set this aside for the moment. Where did I put that pot? But I think at least I can fit it in this 7-inch pot now. I don't know how it came out of the pot it was in, because that wasn't a very big pot. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in here and sink it as deeply as I can. Let me set it somewhere. Can you hang out there for a moment, please? Thanks. Nope, don't go anywhere. Oh my gosh, that's so heavy. Ugh. Okay. Whoa. Get a little bit of soil in the bottom. Not much, because there's not much bottom to get it in once you shove all these roots in there. All right. And I'm trying to keep it somewhat towards the center of the pot, because I'm the worst for potting things all kind of off center. I reckon it doesn't matter, it's just what you want to look at, I guess. Preference, maybe? It is off center. It's alright. It's fine. Maybe I can, yeah, I can move it back actually a little bit before I compress the soil in there. And I am going to shower this plant in its entirety, even though I just said earlier in this video that I don't usually do that to my anthuriums. I'm going to this go around, and then I'm going to get some fresh soapy alcohol water and wipe it down. Because I don't think I've really cleaned it very well since I brought it in from the greenhouse. I did treat it with alcohol spray because it had thrips, I think, when I brought it in. I want to say it did. Or maybe I just sprayed it whether it did or didn't. I can't remember. But yeah, I've been enthusiastic with the pest treating. kind of slacked off a little bit now because I haven't actually seen anything, except for on the plants that have other stuff for whatever reason. Alright, I'll be back. Oh, that's its current newest leaf, grown indoors since I brought it in. Not looking too bad. A little dirty, but not bad. Shoot, I forgot the base of the plant. Let me go get a pot, one probably about this size, and we'll tuck it in real quick. Okay. That's a lot of plant there. I'm going to leave the top just barely visible. I'm not worried about soil on the bottom because basically when it reshoots and the plantlet has its own root system, I will cut it off. I will free it. Rather when or if it reshoots. I'm pretty sure it will because clarinervium is just like that. It's the plant that keeps on giving. I'll probably end up giving it to one of my daughters. I don't know if... I think one had a clarinervium in Leca, but I don't know if it survived. I think her girlfriend was trying to be helpful and filled not just the reservoir, but the entire pot with water. So, yeah, I'm not sure if she's still got that, if she rehabbed it, or what happened. I haven't asked. I honestly forgot about it until just now. Trying to get some soil down in those roots, because there's a lot of them. A lot of root to try to get down into. There's still some air gaps in there. More on that side. Just because of all the roots, it's really hard to get soil down in the roots when you've got a wad of them in there like that. Especially chunky soils. Maybe if I blast it with the sprayer from the shower, I can like force some more soil down in there because there's definitely air gaps. I don't think it's going to mind too terribly much, but it's more for my own sanity. Okay, now I'm going to go shower these guys and I'll be back and I'll show you that inflow that I was talking about on the one. Okay, so the stump is here and I did have to add a little bit more soil to that because it did settle some, but it didn't really fill in those gaps at the bottom. Not overly worried about it. I guess if it bothers me, I can take like a plant stake or a chopstick or something and kind of try to see if I can't wiggle it down in there when it dries some, because it's not going anywhere wet, it's just gonna clump. This is the plant, freshly showered, the clarinervium. Looking pretty good, I guess. I mean, maybe not. Some of the leaves look a little bit haggard. This one here is probably the worst one. And an inflow did come from this over the summer. I'm going to thank it for its service and remove it. I'm actually going to cut it up a little bit because it's wet at the base. And I don't really want that mud water working its way into the cut. So, but the remainder of the petiole there will probably dry and snap off in the next few days anyway. So I'm not worried about going out of my way to make sure it's removed fully right now. I'll put it that way. I got some fresh soapy alcohol water here. Nice clean washcloth. I guess we're just going to give everybody a wipe. Oh, listen to how crunchy this leaf up off the top here. Let me see if I can get you up so you can see the leaf I'm talking about, this one. I will trim the crisp in a few moments. It's not one of the older leaves, but it's crispy. I'm debating, do I want to remove the whole leaf? I'm not going to. It has this inflow coming from that leaf, so it is a recent one. I'll let it go a little bit longer, but I am going to trim some of the crisp off of it. I love clarinervium so much. It's, believe it or not, it's an easy one to get nice leaves on, for me anyway. I don't water it quite as much as I do my other anthurium. I leave it a little bit on the drier side. Like, it doesn't mind having a dry period, whereas some other anthuriums like really just want to kind of be consistently damp always. This is not, for me anyway, is not one of those plants. All right. Mostly just trying to dry some of that excess moisture up. I think I am going to cut this other inflow here off. It's done what it's going to do. And I just don't need it taking any, I don't need the plant investing energy into this inflow that is doing nothing. And as I said, I probably will cut this crispy leaf very soon. Very soon. I'm going to let it settle in though with the crispy leaf. I'm going to cut some of this crunchiness off the edges though. Just because I don't want to look at it. I'd rather look at the leaf all chopped than look at crispiness. Crispy leaves generally don't bother me, but yeah, just some less crispinesses. There we go. And then the inflow, let me show you that so you can kind of see what I was talking about with the swelling at the base. Okay, this is some poor lighting, but that's the inflow. And then from here, why are we not focusing? From about here back to the spathe is where it's forming the berries. You can kind of see the round shapes of them. The rest of it apparently didn't get pollinated. So yeah, and the, oops, spathe is green on this one. I'll show you the one I just cut off. This is the one I just cut off. There's no real swelling or organization here. It went through both receptive and producing pollen. This is what the spathe on that one looks like. It's not as green, and it has that kind of red to it. The other one is just green. So, yeah, not pollinated. I didn't think it would be because I think it's produced this one since it came inside. But, yeah. So if that helps show the difference there, that's what that one looks like. And then this one again. Whether or not that'll hang in there now that I've really disrupted this plant, I couldn't tell you, but just in case it does, I'm going to leave it be. This plant is still super wet. Super wet. I thought I was done with it, but I'm going to wipe it down once more with the soapy alcohol water. I say soapy alcohol water. The amount of soap is really negligible. It's just to break any surface tension. And the alcohol is pretty good at cleaning. And also, like I say, if there's any potential pests on a plant, then that's fine. That's fine. Maybe we'll get lucky and the alcohol will unalive them. I haven't seen anything on this one. And I'm not, like I said, I can't remember if it had thrips when I brought it in or if I just treated it because everything seemed to have thrips that was in the greenhouse. But yeah. Alright, now I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to put it back. It lives downstairs on top of one of the plant cabinets, on top of the IKEA Detolf cabinet. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty clean anyway. It's fine. So yeah, I wandered off. I have no idea where I went. It's been probably 3 or 4 days since the last thing I did in this video, which was the Anthurium clarinervium. And that plant is doing just fine. It hasn't given up on its little its infructescence. And it seems to be doing okay, so it's downstairs in that room. So is the crystallinum that I repotted. One of the leaves is looking a little after me messing with it yet again, but not so bad. Just some crisping around the edges, and that could honestly be because I think I watered it after I repotted it, but I swear to nothing. That was a lot of roots for that pot. But yeah, I have jury duty, so I've got to wrap this up and get this edited. I still haven't put up my Christmas trees. I think I have four trees that I usually put up. This year I think I'm just going to put up the one really big one in my dining room. I'm not sure, because we're not hosting Thanksgiving here, and we're not doing Christmas dinner here either. My kids are actually doing it for the first time, which it feels a little weird to not be worried about that. You know, we've done it for such a long time, but I'm quite happy to pass the torch. I think my husband is too. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this up and get this up probably today. And I've got to work on a video for the members feed, because I want to get that up by Thanksgiving anyway. I'm gonna get out of here, I guess, and go clean my house, make room for a Christmas tree. I started moving stuff, but I haven't finished yet. I'm moving real slow lately, like slow motion Jen. That's what's going on over here. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.